Let's get
All right, we're back. Morning Shootaround, episode 13, coming off a bye week, and we're just going to get right into it here, Pacer. Let's do some recaps. No, bottom button. There you go, Dubs.
This is your week 3 and 4 playoff recaps. In Game 2 of the Unified Conference Finals, Halifax made the trip to Saskatchewan to play in what could be the game of the year, unless you ask Mike Robinson, who probably wants to have the Men in Black guys flashbang him with the memory stick thing. Sask took an early lead, but the Thunderbirds responded with a late first quarter surge. From there, the teams traded blows in an intense defensive battle that lasted the rest of the game. With Halifax up 2 goals late, a timely TV timeout gave Coach of the Year Jimmy Quinlan and GM of the Year Derek Keenan an opportunity to draw up a plan you wouldn't read about. Zach Mann's man scored with 44 seconds left before Mike Messenger made the most ridiculous play of the year, diving through the air like a bat out of hell, causing the turnover that led to Defensive Player of the Year Matt Hossick's game-tying goal. With Halifax up by 2 goals late in the game, in overtime, Mike Robinson's second major penalty of the game put Saskatchewan on the power play. Just 10 seconds later, Rush playoff MVP Austin Shanks buried the game winner, sending the people from the prairies back to the NLL Finals. Rush 10, Thunderbirds 9. In Game 1 of the NLL Finals, a sold-out KeyBank Center was put on silent mode early as Saskatchewan struck just 22 seconds in, then added another goal 90 seconds later. But as everyone knows, you can't keep Banditland quiet for long. A second quarter hat-trick from Ian McKay ignited the crowd and brought Buffalo back to life, sending the teams into halftime tied 6-6. Saskatchewan reclaimed the lead with an early third quarter goal and held it until just under 5 minutes remaining in the frame. And then they didn't score again. An empty net tip-in by Kyle Buchanan sealed the win as Buffalo took Game 1 in a nail-biting fashion. McKay, Smith, and Buchanan combined for 10 of Buffalo's 12 goals, helping the Bandits move one step closer to a third straight championship. Bandits 12, Rush 10. In Game 2, the series shifted back to Saskatchewan with the conveniently designed NLL Championship trophy in the building, and how great it was to see that arena rocking, bandwagon fans and all. Highlight reel goals, clutch saves, critical penalties, and crucial challenges. This game had everything a true lacrosse fan could ask for. The Rush's fast-paced transition game was firing early and often as they jumped out to another quick lead. But just like in Game 1, the Bandits' relentless attitude helped them claw back, sending both teams into the locker room tied again at 6-6. Chase Fraser contributed in all 3 of Buffalo's third quarter goals, including a highlight reel beyonda that we'll see for years. But Saskatchewan's blue-collar grit held strong under pressure. They battled back and built a late 2-goal lead, only for Kyle Buchanan to cut it to 1 with just over a minute remaining. In the dying seconds, Buffalo got a taste of their own medicine as a potential game-tying shot was blocked by Holden Garland's brain, which had Prison Frank all fired up, and set the stage for an epic winner-takes-all showdown next week in Banditland between this season's 2 best teams, Rush 11, Bandits 10. And that's your week 3 and 4 playoff recap. My God, coming out of the bye week, I was rusty.
I'm never going to forget you stopping me. Oh, shit.
I do like the late
had it like
Holden Catoni.
Yeah, Holden Catoni.
That guy ain't blocking a shot.
Oh, incredible. Okay, well, how's that for an intro? We're back.
Jesus.
After our bye week, you obviously heard the voices of Christian Del Bianco and the man who built the place, Tyler Pace. We have a guest finally back here.
So we're so back.
People don't have to just listen to the 3 of us talk back and forth. We have one Matt Beers, and I wrote down some of the accolades, some of your titles here, and I think I got one at the end that might catch you off guard a little bit, one that you might not totally know about. So, head coach of the Langley Thunder in the BC Junior A League, defender and assistant captain and former captain with the Vancouver Warriors, NLL champion, Minto Cup champion, President's Cup champion, and then here we go. You share your name with a South African cyclist who is a 3-time Cape Epic winner. I don't know what that is. And he has also won multiple national titles in South Africa. How does it feel?
Beersy has a world championship also, by the way.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Sorry.
Your research.
I was focusing more so on the South African
You Google my
cyclist,
name and he
South
comes
Africa.
up a lot more frequently, so yes.
The Great Whites.
I am from South Africa, and this is exactly true.
Welcome to Morning Shootaround. how's the year been? I mean, I know obviously the season ended in a bit of a tough way for you guys. Probably still coming down from that season overall. But how was it for you?
Yeah, obviously. So for us, since I've been back, it's been a lot of like culture change and a lot of those things. Obviously, we didn't start the year the way we wanted. I thought we made a lot of progress getting to closer games. Like back when I was playing for the Rush and Pacer famously said, beat the doors off the Warriors. That was a pretty dark time. And every year it's been getting better and better with, like staying in the fight and kind of getting that winning culture that Kurt's trying to instill in the players. So the year started out well. We were in a lot of games. We won more games than we, did the year before early in the season. And then for him, like getting to see the systems that are put in place, it usually comes to fruition later in the season because they're complex and layered, and the offense did the same thing the year before, started to get going. And then like Walshy was playing great, but we get Delbs and we go on a bit of a run. And because we won some of those close games early in the year, we're able to make a run to the playoffs. So it just felt good to be back there. I mean, I think the fans in Vancouver needed that. Like they've been patient for a long time, and hopefully it just continues on from here.
It's probably a pretty interesting, I guess, perspective that you would see things through, considering that you went through the days of the Vancouver Stealth when, the team was bad for a long time, and then the early days of the Warriors where the team was also pretty bad for a long time, and now seeing the progression of Rogers Arena get more and more full. Like it must be pretty cool for you to experience that.
Yeah, this could be a whole nother podcast. It's like the downfall of the Stealth. But like when I went there, we were unbelievable. And
you won your first year or second year?
First year.
Yeah,
first
Beersy was like Pacer.
Hot
We don't do this every year.
I said to Haji before we played that game, I'm like, I don't lose. And I was cocky and I was 20 and I didn't know any better, but I was like, no, we're gonna win. Like I don't lose. Like coming in Coquitlam, like we had
Beersy
a lot
was
of
the
success.
seventh defender. I don't lose, man.
Oh man, I was not on any special teams or whatnot, but like, at the end of the day, I just had a lot of confidence coming in and, getting to play with such a good team for so long. I think the problem where Washington kind of ran into things where a lot of other teams have figured out the formula is they were always trying to stay there by trading assets for a player that's in their prime, where you see a lot of teams that have success. Saskatchewan's a pretty good example where you have to go through some growing pains. You have to get some players that are younger and, you have to have that balance of good veterans, but younger players that can, young legs, fresh, exciting players to watch. And Doug Locker, was always trying to chase that, like, hey, we're still there. We're going to try and continue to keep our team there. And, then we have some guys that left, Mike Grimes and Kyle Sorensen, who were like unbelievable when I first started. A lot of the people I learned from. And one guy had knee injuries, the other guy left to go work at Ontario Hydro. And then, you lose those players for nothing.
We're the only league that like a career-ending injury is getting a good job.
At Ontario Hydro.
Did he tear his knee? Nah, he's making $120K now.
Well, let's go into those early days of the Stealth in your first year, because I wrote some notes down here. Like, I want to know how much you remember about your first goal in the league, because looking back, you scored it in your first game on your only shot of the game. Do you remember who you scored on, and like what do you remember about it?
He's like, I'm going to break all the records. He's like, what's John Tavares' record?
No, I was closer to breaking the penalty minutes record that game than the goal scoring record. I went low under the glove. Like, that's all I remember. I don't know if that was the game that, was it Palador that got Dutchie put a ball through his cage and he really messed him up. Like the ball warped and went through his, like the cat eyes of his mask. So I don't know if I shot on the backup.
You did. You scored on Andrew Lation. His name is. Palador, started the game in the second quarter. A Reese Dutch shot went through his mask and
but they don't ask how.
No. But I'm good for 2 a year, and I usually get them pretty early. Last year, obviously not, but like usually I can get them pretty early, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's gonna have a year," and then that's my only 2 I scored.
The legs start catching him. Hey, start slowing down. He's like, "I'm gonna stay at home again."
I was 20.
He's like week 3 pick for transition player of the year.
T-boy.
Well, I think the first year I was with the Warriors, I actually got 2 against Delbs in back-to-back games.
And I was 12 years old.
They were going to do a promotion where if I scored, they were going to get, like, everyone's going to get a free beer or something. But because I scored 2 goals right away, they're like, We're not doing
It was like that. Hey, when Toronto did the guaranteed win night versus the Warriors a while ago.
I was a safer
Yeah.
bet not to score again, then that game was guaranteed win for them. But
Yeah.
It's funny. I was watching back the broadcast of your first game just so I could see like how it all happened, and they mentioned on the broadcast, they're like, yeah, like Beers broke so early, like because the ball didn't get to you right away. They're like, he was getting lonely down there just waiting for the pass because you were like completely out of frame.
See, I don't remember that.
The truth is getting twisted now. Eh?
My version's way better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did already kind of touch on this a little bit, and it's something that we've asked guys in the past about, like having success when you first start your career, and you kind of get into that mindset of we're going to be good forever, like we're gonna win forever, kind of like what you mentioned. But then there is the downfall of the stealth that leads into the Warriors, and there was this stretch of losing that, in comparison, like there have to have been times when you guys must have been thinking, are we going to be good again? Like, when is this going to end? What was that stretch like in comparison to when you started your career? Like, how was it after coming off of this stretch when you feel like I don't lose?
When I got humbled?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, like, so we had an unbelievable goalie tandem with Tyler Richards and Matt Royk, and then Tyler was like, he was in his prime. Like, Tyler was unbelievable, such a good angles goalie. Then he had some injuries, he's with his personal life, he stepped away, and we were always searching for that goalie. I think, you're really in this league. If you look at the way, like, the last 10 finals have gone, I mean, most of them have Vince in it, but like, Dylan Ward, Matt Vince, Del Bianco, Matt Vince. Like, if you don't have a top end goalie, it's really hard to be successful because the margin of error is so small when you get into those big games. And I think for us, like, not having Tyler and then having those players kind of leave without getting anything for them. And that's a big thing. Like, I'm pretty like, this was told to me that there was a trade on the table. It was Reese Dutch for Dixon straight up back when they were kind of both in their prime. And we said no. And like, you could have got rid of someone who, maybe was on the down. Like, I'm not going to get into
Dutchy's not going to like you say.
I'm not going to say that.
Dutchy's
I'm not going to say the rest
I
of
scored a
it.
championship
Yeah.
goal after that.
And
We ended up keeping Dixon and getting
Dutchy.
Dutch.
Yeah. Mike Board, GM of the year.
Yeah, that's right.
but
Chestnut checkers.
That's just one example of like, like there's maybe something you could do. Like, okay, like this player's so good right now. Like Dutchy was unbelievable, but we're going to start to think forward looking and stuff like that. That just wasn't in the picture. And I just think that when you start going down that rabbit hole of what could have happened and how those trades went, it was really hard for, us to stay relevant because not only did we lose those players, but we also lost all the first round picks.
Yeah, Doug Locker just got bent over the barrel by Derek Keenan like over and
yeah,
over
he built two dynasties. He built the Stealth Dynasty and the Rush
Yeah,
Dynasty.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. It's,
Well, no, he also built Buffalo because we got Rory Smith and Eric Penny for like 3 first-round draft picks as well.
That's always good.
Yeah, not having
They
a
turned
first
into
round pick.
Josh and Dane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gave Sask, Benny Mack, I want to say, and
Well,
Matthews.
I did a list on
It's
my
pretty
phone.
crazy.
Well,
It
the
was- it was a
Iannucci
late-night
trade
list.
turned into Matthews.
and Corey Small they traded for from
Yeah.
them too. And
no,
Paul Rabel he
so
traded
that,
for from
that
them.
trade. I remember the day
Who?
and where I was.
Paul Rabel.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, Paul.
It was the number 1 pick and Paul for Nooch. And
Yeah.
they turned Paul into Jared Davis and Jared Davis and Mark Matthews. And JD was like, he was
Player.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have in my notes here that like I wanted to ask you a little bit about playing with Paul Rabel because he's a guy that has sort of a weird reputation in Canadian box lacrosse just based on like how some things have been said or handled with the PLL and stuff like that. But he was a big part of that Stealth team. Like he scored that huge overtime winning goal against Edmonton to send the Stealth to the finals. What was your experience playing with him like?
He was an awesome guy. Like he was great. I have nothing bad to say about him. He was like that guy that the bus would roll up and there would be a whole whack of fans waiting just to see Paul. Like he was a big name back then. I think for him, it was probably hard not being the man because we had a really good offense and that was just the team he got drafted to. Our offense was unbelievable at the time. And he probably could have played offense on a number of other teams. It could have given him a time, to acclimatize to box, but he ended up being like a D-training guy. And I don't know if like he just loved that because he probably wanted to do other things. Like he played offense when he went to Philly. But as far as a person in the locker room, like he was wicked, really nice guy. We had a lot of Americans at the time, like Kyle Hartzell, Eric Martin, Jameson Coyester. Like a lot of guys were going through there that were Americans, and Paul was great. Like I think he's a really good guy. And then I still stay in touch with him a little bit with the PLL stuff. I think it's cool what he's doing. Like obviously he wants to separate himself from the NLL because that's not his professional league, and he's all about field. So I don't think he has any animosity towards box lacrosse. He's just trying to grow his product.
What do you mean? Like how do you still keep in touch with him with the PLL stuff? Like,
Oh no, I just, like I said, I talked to him on Instagram.
He comments on his Instagram posts. Hey, Paul, hope you're well.
Keep going, Paul. Remember me?
Can I get a shirt maybe one day? My kid loves lacrosse.
I was the
My
guy who
kid's
told
your
you what a
biggest
pick
fan.
is.
not like we're not like pen pals or anything, like, but we still like are cordial.
It's one of their admins.
He's like,
responding to
can you send my kid a shirt size large?
Never got the shirt.
Yeah, I'll take an adult XL.
Signed to Matt.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry,
I
Matt.
regret coming.
Yeah, that was a good, like, the Washington Stealth though. Like the defense is kind of a mix. Like I forgot Hartzell played like a lot of minutes too.
Yeah,
He
Hartzell.
also like came back and played in San Diego years later. Like
He was like that Eli Goldbreath, like the first coming to him. Like he was, you got to realize back then, like I played against Gary Gate, probably, not Paul, Gary. And he was massive and probably 40. And like the game was pretty slow back then. So those Americans were very effective, like north-south on-ball offense.
yeah,
And like Eric Martin and Kyle Hartzell and even Paul, like so athletic.
Yeah.
And that was a good asset to have.
Do you think we've talked about like expansions and being like playing in Washington? I know it's not like the big market kind of Seattle area, but do you think that lacrosse could have a team in Seattle at some point?
Oh, 100%. Like Chris O'Doherty and, you know, all those guys that run Cityside, like they've done such a good job with the grassroots from day one. I think there's a ton of people playing lacrosse in the Washington State. Like I really think it would do well. And obviously like with the American teams, they'll support it. Like I think, especially with the Key Bank, if they can get it with those owners. When we were, that stupid call that, I make a lot of enemies here, but like Tyler Branch, when he made that like 2 minutes for, what was it, like messing around or
yeah, they're going in a timeout.
whatever it was. Like he was trying to put on a show. There was like 3 or 4 owners there that were like looking for teams and stuff. And like, he was just, you know, kind of put on a bit of a show for them, it seemed like. And they were there for Junior's jersey retirement. But Seattle was one of the teams that was looking back in the day. So if they ever do decide to get it going, and if it's at Key Bank, like it's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
wow.
Sorry, where's Key Bank?
KeyBank Center?
Is that the?
No, KeyBank is
Downtown Seattle?
Yeah, isn't that where they play in the
Oh,
Kraken?
I
Down
thought
there?
it
No,
was
you're
like-
thinking Climate Pledge Arena.
Yeah,
Okay.
Isn't
Key
KeyBank
Bank
in
is where
Buffalo?
Buffalo plays. That's why I'm so
What's
confused.
the,
Is Seattle
what it used to be
Amazon owned? Is that Climate
No,
Pledge? Is
it's
that
Climate
Amazon?
Pledge.
called? I know,
No, I
but
don't
I'm
think
trying to
so.
think what it used to be called.
CenturyLink?
No,
Like you're
no,
talking
no.
football?
We played a playoff game there. That's when Paul scored that goal. It was downtown Seattle.
Comcast? No. What?
No, we had to play
in
out
Seattle?
of yeah, in Seattle, because
Wow.
they refurbished it. It was like oh, come to me.
Yeah.
I was going to try to
That's
look it
why
up.
we were like,
Sorry, yeah.
Beersy's so old that we haven't even heard of the arena that he's talking about. We're like,
It's Climate Pledge now, if that's what it's called, but it was something different. We'll
I
look it
think.
up.
Well, I think Climate. I mean, not. We can move on, but I think Climate Pledge is like a brand new arena.
yeah,
Like I think it's
brand
like a
new.
newly
It's
built.
brand new. It's like half in
was
ground.
it
It's
was
very
renoed.
interesting.
It was renoed.
Yeah, they took the top off it, tore down the building, and just
I will stand by that fact. It was renoed. It's in the same place, and they refurbished it.
sounds good. It's okay.
Moving on.
Okay, yeah. Moving
okay,
on, and
okay.
the team moves on to Langley. I've always been so curious to ask like guys who played for the Vancouver Stealth, like what that experience was like, and if it was as enjoyable of an experience as it was for the fans, in the sense that the arena isn't downtown, so like the viewing experience, like going to watch, was a lot simpler than having to go downtown and pay for parking and stuff like that.
Do you think people liked going to LEC instead of?
It was horrible.
Well, okay,
There was no SkyTrain. Like it was harder to get an Uber if you wanted to have a
But it's
beer.
Parking was atrocious. You
For
couldn't,
sure.
You couldn't get in and out.
But
Yeah.
it's a 20-minute drive versus a 40-minute drive. I think that
But there was also, was it the Portman Bridge? Was like
Yeah.
still toll
Yeah.
bridge. So you had to pay like
it's true.
another $6 just to drive the 30 minutes to get to Langley.
That was as much as a ticket.
Brutal, yeah.
So
Yeah,
did
to watch them just get shit kicked.
did the players also not enjoy the experience?
I can't wait till
then?
he gets humbled.
What do you mean?
It's gonna happen one day.
Yeah.
So for
I don't
us,
lose.
we ended up playing a championship game there because we got bumped by Sesame Street out of the Comcast.
Is that a real story?
Come
Real
on,
story.
that's who it was.
From Sesame Street.
Big Bird fucked you.
Oh yeah, brutal.
The Harlem Globetrotters were in town, so no home playoff game for us.
And they were like, no, this has been booked. And we was like, oh fuck. So sorry. I thought
By
he swore. He
Sesame
swore.
Street.
Yeah, fuck shit piss.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. And then I guess, I don't know if it had been in the works before, but we did have a lot of fans coming down from BC. So they decided like, okay, like LEC was pretty much brand new at that point. We're gonna drive up, make it work. Steyers flew his team in on like Monday. We all show up on Friday, business as usual. We play Saturday. I remember like trying to catch breakout passes, and that like ring of lights is so low. Like,
It's weird. It's like spotlights. It's like outdoor lights.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
kind of different.
and like we go from like we were really good. Like obviously we were hosting, so we were a higher seed than the Nighthawks. But I'm like, okay, we're really good in the Comcast. They're like they've already been practicing there. Like it's like a home floor for them. Like I just felt like it was such a disadvantage. But we played a championship game there and we sold it out. So basically Denise is like, okay, like I think we can make this work. And also, I think the city of Langley or like the LEC owned like a little bit of us or shared some of the financial costs to make it happen up there. And to your point, do we enjoy playing there? Like I think it's when you go to like the Ball Arena in Colorado and you're just in that atmosphere, it just seems like a big sport, like a professional sport. Langley felt like it was a summer ball game a little bit. You know, like you just have it's in Langley. It's not like
the same.
It's not like Rogers, no.
Yeah, I think any of like even like the Saddle Dome in Calgary, like you walk in there, it kind of has like the one deep end, like it feels like you're in like a historic NHL rink. Like going to Rogers, it's like you feel like this is where I watched the Canucks play when I was growing up. Toronto, same thing when it used to be downtown. Like it's just a different vibe and like different, like it feels like it elevates you to that level of true pro sports.
Maybe I like me and my dad and my brother were just like in the minority, but like we loved that it was like 20 minutes and we're at the parking did suck.
Tino would prefer if we could just play in the cam.
I would love that.
Ideally, the Warriors play at Cam Neely.
Cam Neely,
That's only a 10-minute drive for me.
the backrests in the seats at the cam, like in the bench seating or whatever, are like maybe like 2 inches tall. So you're just like it's digging into your back while you're sitting there.
You have Crazy P and Langley come up behind you. You don't know. He's like, my wife's like, get him fucking out of here. You have a baby in the stands. You're just hammering the snare drum right behind you. It's like, it's not necessary.
Is he not at the Warriors stuff too? And
No.
like
No, I think
is he
not.
the BC Lions guy?
BC Lions.
Yeah, and UBC Canucks. He was actually my coworker for a season. I was doing like the hype team stuff for the Canucks. I was doing like the t-shirt tosses.
Yeah.
So he was like on our team or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. Like
Probably so much energy.
man, he legitimately treats that like he's an athlete. Like he has certain naps that he takes at certain times. He like used to do energy drinks, but he's like now I got
He has to
like
tape
these
his
fruits.
wrists.
He's all natural
He
now. He's
does
all
still-
natural now.
He has to tape his
Legitimately
wrist,
still
yeah.
tapes his
He probably
wrist.
has got like Tommy John, man, from it. Like realistically,
Probably,
you're
yeah.
hitting that thing so hard constantly.
After working with him for a year, like
Tennis elbow.
I was standing like we were waiting to go do something in the arena, and these like guys sitting in the club section were like, God, I fucking hate Crazy Pete. Like this guy's just like a glorified fan, and I wanted to like beat these guys. I was like, you don't even
That's
know
my
this
boy.
guy, man.
That's my
Shut
boy.
the fuck up.
You know how Crazy P doesn't know who Tino
Yeah.
is.
No, we're boys,
He's
man.
Yeah, who is that guy again? Dino. Dino, nice Italian kid.
Okay, and then we move on to your time with the Warriors, like your first stint with the Warriors, and if you're comfortable with it, I would love for you to go into like how the departure went. I know it was like after COVID, it was a free agency thing, but like how did that all go down that you ended up in Sask not re-signing with Vancouver?
I wanted to sign back with Vancouver. I had no intentions to leave. I kind of went into contract negotiations where something that I was asking for I didn't think was a big deal, but it was going to make me a better player, and I thought that was kind of a non-negotiable. these guys here can appreciate the, you draw a line in the sand. And I got to a point where
What's that supposed to mean?
I got to a point where I wasn't being negotiated with. I was just having the numbers mixed around in different places and still not getting a hotel on a game day where I'm like, I'm driving in from Maple Ridge. I'm like, because I remember them saying like, oh, like you can have the hotel after the game so you can go and have beers after. I'm like, I don't want to have beers after. I want to have a nap before the game and not sit in traffic after we're done, shoot around, drive home, drive back. I'm like, there's no home floor advantage. So when that got pulled, I was like, I need that in my contract. And I said, I also need to make sure that the players are going to be lobbied for, and we need that as a team so we can be successful. And he's like, well, I don't think I can do that. And I said, okay, I'm going to get an agent. Because at that point if I was going to go back, because I wanted to be there still, I wanted to make sure I still had a relationship with the existing team. And then the agent kind of did some work and we still weren't getting anywhere. And then I just kind of put a pin in it. I'm like, okay, well, just stall. I want to go to free agency. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. I want to see what else is out there. And I was up in my cabin, and the minute Eastern time it hit 12 o'clock, whatever, I got messages from San Diego and Saskatchewan. I was actually up at the cabin with Robert Church. And he FaceTimed Derek Keenan.
That's tampering.
No, he was there. It was free agency. I was a free agent at that point. So
At 12 o'clock, he FaceTimed as if.
at 12 o'clock, I got a FaceTime, and Robert FaceTimes Derek, and we're pinned. And I was like, we're not doing this right now. And Derek was kind of laughing. He was like, okay, like, I appreciate that. I'm like, I really look forward to our conversation. And it was kind of over, like, it was in and around COVID. So I was like, well, maybe we shouldn't have been at the cabin, but it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't sure how traveling was going to be. And it was kind of like, oh no, that was the next contract. So this one was, it was Sask or San Diego after I knew I was going to leave Van. And San Diego had a lot more bells and whistles, but I just played in the Worlds with like Rubish and Corbs, and Robert was a good friend, and he was just really kind of selling the slide in Saskatchewan, like, for my kids.
The biggest slide in a hotel in the league.
Best slide in the league by a
They're
mile.
selling I was like, the slide. Is that like a
Like defensive
analogy?
slide?
The actual slide.
I'm sorry, one of the most ridiculous hot tubs in the league, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like half
The
full and the
Jets?
jets are above water. like that can't be efficient.
we did the slide more than the hot tub. But, and I ended up picking a team that, I thought was going to be better, but also that was more of a familiar, like, I really want to play with Rubes again. I really want to play with Corbs. Like, those are good people. And getting to meet them in Team Canada, it kind of made sense. And, like, once I left, 100%, like, no regrets about my decision. As hard as it was, like, I gave myself so many, like, gut issues. I was so stressed, like, leaving and caring about the team, the players. And I kind of talked to a couple of the guys that I had good relationships with, and there's like, you know what, like, if this is what it is, and you make this decision, like, you got to do what's best for you. And that was what was best for my family at the time. We got to go to an organization like Saskatchewan's top notch, like Derek Keenan, Jimmy Quinlan. I have nothing but good things to say about both those people. The whole team was really good. And then getting to meet a lot of those young guys that are there now, like, we got to kind of help mentor them and help them out, as like Barnable and Bowie were coming in, and Holden was obviously kind of a young player still. So got to be with those players early and get to play with them. And then I got to come back to Vancouver, where I wanted to be all along.
Do you think that you end up back in Vancouver if the new management doesn't come in? No?
No. If Kurt didn't come in, I wouldn't be back.
The only thing I'll add, like, do you think there was an element of leaving Van the first time? Like, you felt like you could play lacrosse, like, a little more pressure-free, like being the captain of Vancouver when stuff wasn't going well, and kind of like the pressure that comes with that? Like, was it like taking the joy out of the game?
It's not fun to lose, but I feel like I always felt like every year we were going to turn a corner in a way. Like, I do still believe we had a lot of good pieces in there, but it's hard when, again, we talk about like margin of error is so slim, and then we just don't have those players coming in consistently. Like, a couple times we had players that played with us for a year, and then the next year they were gone. Like, I find like players in this league, unless you're a first round draft pick and come in and really like make some noise early, you have to have a couple years in the league to, like, you've traveled to Buffalo, you know what the travel's like, you've been there before. It's more of it's not a shock to you. I find in Vancouver, we had a lot of players that were maybe going to be good the next year, and then they didn't come back, or they got hurt, or, you know, it was always like we were kind of searching for our identity. And then going to Saskatchewan, where they had their identity, they were, you know, a veteran team. There was definitely, once I got there, that aspect of it, but I didn't leave thinking that was going to be something I would enjoy. But I did get to go there and just play, because they were, I mean, I was in the leadership group based off what they wanted when I first got there. They're like, you deserve to be here. But, you know, Corb's, like, he's a captain through and through. Like, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to do anything like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Beers plays like a pretty hard style of lacrosse. Obviously, he's got a lot of penalty minutes, and his wires cross from time to time. And I remember, this is like before I kind of knew Beers, but you know, it's like, how can we get under, as an offensive player, it's like, how can I get under somebody's skin a little bit to throw them off their game, or like have them take a penalty or something. And I remember him coming from Vancouver, who wasn't good, to Saskatchewan, and then Saskatchewan wasn't good. So I was like, Beersy, it's your fault. You're the problem. You're the problem. He's like, fuck you, Pacer.
I even said in the room one time, because I'm like, is it me, guys? Like, started to really question things here. Like, it's real 360 from when I first got in the league. But and again, though, you go back to Saskatchewan, and there was a couple problems. But like, to me, the biggest problem was they hung a lot on a goalie that wasn't proven. Like, we had, I think that year we had the lowest shot total against, and we were like second highest in goals against. Like, it was tough, because, you know, there was a backup goalie that they were going to give a shot to, and he just, you know, wasn't maybe what they thought. But you know, as far as the guys in the organization, like, first class.
You mentioned Jimmy Quinlan there. He just won Coach of the Year. What is he like as a communicator? I've heard some interviews with him, and he seems like an awesome guy. And from just like content that I've seen, like it seems like guys love to play for somebody like that. So what is he like as a coach?
Yeah, don't call him a co-coach. He doesn't like that.
Did you hit him with that this year?
I know last year I chirped him. He didn't forgive me for a while.
Yeah, no, the one thing I will say about Jimmy, I don't know if I chirped Evan Kirk one time or something when I was young in the league and I was a little arrogant, but like Jimmy, like, just like,
When you were a little arrogant? Come on.
Your reaction to that was so like,
It's like crazy.
okay, we can debate that later. But with that being said, like, Jimmy, like, just like had it out for me after that. Like, every time I came by the bench, would like have something to chirp me about. And then we're like warming up the one time, and like he comes up to me and warm up. I'm like, man, this guy's starting before we're even on the floor. Like, and he's like, were you in Edmonton last weekend? And I was like, yeah, like, why? Like, my fiance goes to school there. He's, thought I saw you. I was like, okay, this is like, now he's in my head. Like, I'm like, is he my like buddy? Is he not my buddy? Since then, it's been pretty good. And obviously knowing Frank, like, Frank says, a beauty, and he's like your typical players coach. But yeah, he was in my head for a long time when I was young in the league.
He is like an absolute ass. That's why it surprised me and got mad at me for that. Because I'm like, really? Like, you chirp everybody. But like, when I was playing for him, like, honestly, like, he's, like you said, players coach, one of the best, like, out there shooting with the guys. Like, he's such a student of the game. Like, he's that teacher mentality. He's great at explaining things. I picked up a lot of, like, even for me, like, coaching. Like, he kind of said one time, he's like, well, how can I expect you know something unless I've taught you? You know, like, so he would always go over the stuff with the young guys. Like, you know, he deserves to be Coach of the Year. Like, he's got those guys playing great lacrosse. He's got them wanting to play for him. And, you know, he's obviously learned so much from Derek Keenan. Like, he's an awesome person and a great coach, and chirps nonstop. Like, he's just like, he's one of the guys.
I've heard he, like, before the games, he sits in the dressing room like he's like in a stall with the boys, like chopping it up.
Got his tarp off.
Before warm up. Like, I heard he's like that kind of.
Well,
and even on the floor, he's like dapping guys up while they're stretching, like doing his little march around. So
he's doing shooting in like the horseshoe longer than most players. Like, and he's slinging the rock. Like,
I would hate that.
Oh, he's such a beauty though. But like, he has that, people respect him because he's a great guy, great coach. Like, he was their captain, and he kind of came in and basically they're like, Derek's like, you know, you're not going to make the team. He's like, but I got a spot for you as a coach. And he ended up taking it. And then he hasn't looked back. So like, he was playing with those guys all the way through. And then, you know, I'm pretty sure he even played with Robert.
Yeah, he did. 100%. He played in Edmonton.
No, but I don't know if he was there like when Robert might have been in his first year, but
Yeah,
I
he
can't
was.
remember where the crossover was. So he's played with a lot of those guys that were on his team. Like when he had like Rubes and Corbs and Cornwall and Mitzik, he played with those guys as the captain. So it's probably hard to make that transition, but he's just such a good guy. He makes it work.
Beersy's getting ready for that. No, but one thing I did hear, this is like I came in on the tail end of Brider in Calgary, and I've just heard the legend of the fact that they used to fight every game in the Battle of Alberta. Like basically whatever team was down, they had like a rule that if the team that's down like asks you to fight, you have to fight. So Jimmy and Brider fought like 7 times.
Are they both from Edmonton?
No, Brider's from Ladner.
Yeah, Ladner.
Oh yeah,
I don't know where Jimmy's from. Is he an Edmonton guy? No.
I feel like he's Ontario.
Yeah.
No, we played for Coquitlam, but I thought,
Well, he was presenting awards a couple years ago at the Minto when he was in.
Yeah, because he lives in Edmonton.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if he's from there.
He's a teacher there and all that, but I thought he was from Ontario, but I might get that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize.
Sorry for that necessary jab.
I kind of expected it.
Now being back in Vancouver in present day, and you've been a part of a lot of successful teams over like throughout your career. Do you see the semblance of Vancouver building something like what you've seen in the past with different runs?
Yeah, I've kind of said it in interviews in the past. Like Kurt obviously is unbelievable. As we all know, we've all experienced it, but he also knows the right people to bring into a situation. Like bringing in a guy like Dilks obviously is next level. Like to get him there, it doesn't happen without Kurt. You know, he doesn't come and play for just anybody. Like Dilks, he knows what Kurt's about. You know, obviously Mitski was there, bringing in Jeff. Like even Jeff, the times he was playing this year and he was hurt and probably wasn't at his full capacity. Like when the game's on the line, Jeff's a gamer. Like he brings in people that are not only good individuals, but are talented players and winners in their own profession. So I can definitely see it because then like we talked about with Saskatchewan, like those players learn from Kyle Rubish and Corbeil and all those other people that they kind of got to be mentored from early. That's happening with Owen Grant. That's happening with all these young guys. And, you know, like just watching Dilksy play the top of the short man, like when it's your turn, you're like, you pick up all those things. Like you see what he does and you might not be able to do it like, you know, as well as he can, but you're getting those tips. You're getting those like, how does he position himself? How does he match his stick to the other stick? Like all those little things that other people do ahead of you. Like I think that's what we have going for us is we're helping the young group kind of come up to speed. And we also have good veterans that are, you know, have been there, done that.
Yeah,
It's brutal. It's brutal playing the top
against Dilksy.
against Dilksy.
He's
It's horrible.
a technician.
Oh,
My all-time like favorite thing is Slip like kind of let me in on this one. He started calling Dilksy the glove, and I thought that was so funny. He's just who we putting the glove on tonight? Like Teeter's over there. That's okay. We'll just send the glove over there. Like he just says it in such like a funny, nonchalant way, but like it's crazy because like Dilksy is like sneaky jacked and a little stronger than like he's got like dad strength or something going for him.
but he's so unassuming. Like
Yeah.
he shouldn't be like glue to some people, and his footwork is amazing. I remember one game we were in Sask, and he's like, Lyle had like 2 goals. Like, let me go over there and mark him. Like, and if you want to see a good defender, go put him on his wrong side, because you'll be exposed. Like, if you're not good or technical, like you can get exposed pretty good on your wrong side. And he just fucking blanketed Lyle, and Lyle had nothing else the rest of the game. I'm like, this guy's fucking unreal. Like,
This is unbelievable.
he's so good.
Okay, well now you're playing the role of bench boss for Langley's Junior A team, and there's been in recent history or recent memory, there's been a lot of losing going on there, but you guys now have one of the most experienced and knowledgeable coaching staffs running that Junior A program, and a super young team that I think a lot of people have pretty high expectations for in the coming years. Like you have the Kahn brothers that are going to be in between the pipes for a while. You had three of the top 5 draft picks in the most recent junior draft. First of all, like how did it come that you took on that role, and then how has the experience been for you so far?
Well, I don't have experience. I'm 0-1, and I've not head coached a junior team before. But obviously, having Kurt there is wicked. But I'm still like, I said to him first practice, like, I'm nervous you're here, and I'm running the practice. Like, he's such an intimidating presence. And even last game, like we were having you were there, and we were having a tough time getting the ball to the offense. The offense hadn't found a rhythm. And in my head, I'm like, okay, like, let the offense find the rhythm. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to run like aces or anything yet to like throw him off his game because he's got a plan. And then like a couple plays later, he's like, hey, like let's run this, like let's run aces to get some offense going. In my head, I'm like, I should just fucking follow my gut.
Yeah, like you don't want to step on his toes. You're the head coach.
I know, right? And Nick Thomas comes up and talks to him, and like he's like, hey, like gets him to talk to me, and I'm just like, fuck, like who's, and I'm like, we're gonna find it, like it's he's been away because he's been dealing, like he's had all like the prep for our team, and like I wasn't bugging him when the Warriors are playing, and then he had a few weeks where he was doing Dawson and getting a break, and then he's now coming out more. So I'm gonna be a sponge. I'm trying to learn, but he's like I've been an assistant coach before, like he kind of knows how to do that and wants it to be the voice coming from me. So I think that's all the experience that he has for us to draw off is huge, but it's kind of trying to find the way to coexist and get the best out of him. And then, for me to still learn to be a good head coach. And I've always done like, help guys out or taught people defense, but now it's both sides of it. So having to, just give, the information to the coach and then walk away and kind of go back and forth. But when he's on the O side, what am I going to say to him?
Yeah. I think you should do this.
Well, I will save, like, at one point I have to tell him, can you just let me coach? Because I've heard that a couple times to me when we're playing and you try and give him a suggestion, but I got to find the right time to say that.
You turn around and just got him. Yes. I so got him.
Look at me. I am the captain now.
Yeah,
No.
you got some stud young players on that team though. Like I had that Max Scholar. I don't know if he's back. He's probably got a couple more weeks left before he's back, but I had him in here shooting a few weeks ago, and man, this guy can shoot the shit out of the ball. And then you got Koji Okuyama
Dog.
is there. He is a dog. Like if you're a college scout and you're looking for kind of a do-it-all defensive player, like Koji's your guy. He's amazing.
He was my best player, and he was the first ever junior game. He was the best defenseman that game. Like he's
slick. He's fast too.
He can honestly, like, he reminds me of Dilksey, the way he can pick off passes and his angles of approach and how he matches his stick. Like you're not getting much through him. And I think, like, as far as like the young talent we have, the biggest thing that we're doing this year is we have to build culture, because it's been a losing culture. And it's been a team that's been, I don't even think, close in a lot of games. Like some games they were, but like, you just have that like in your head. Like when Burnaby plays Coquitlam or when Poco plays Coquitlam in junior, they've almost lost before they start, because you have that in your head. It's like, okay, like even if we get up a couple goals, like they're coming back. Like you have to be in those 1-goal games. You have to start to win those 1-goal games. And SAS did that this year. They got over that hump that they've been kind of the last couple of years. Those young guys feel that confidence. They're like, we can win any game now. Same thing with Vancouver. Like we can win these 1-goal games. You have to start to build that game after game, and like that consistency of getting better in small increments. Like we're not going to come in and blow anybody out of the water. Like we're going to be a team that has to be in good 1-goal games. We got to be making limited mistakes and technically sound and just try and continue to get better. And then when it's our time, like when our players have enough experience, I think we have a lot of pieces that we can make work.
You guys don't even have like your 6'7" number 1 overall pick back yet.
Yeah, no, he's on a little bit of a stint he's in prep school, and then he's got a tournament he's going to play. Like
he's a player.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable. And that's
Parker.
It was disheartening to hear that, he wasn't going to be back on time, because I think, if Kurt is only around for this 1 year, then, it'd be great for him to learn from him. But I just think that we have another 4 picks next year, I believe, in the first round, as well as the graduating players from Langley. So there is a lot of potential with what we are trying to do to ultimately build a winning team.
Yeah, I mean that group has like come up all through minor, and they just win and win and win and win. Like they're, as much as you're trying to build a winning culture, like that group, your young core is a bunch of winners,
Yes.
basically. So this idea of like having to build a winning culture is probably going to be a little bit easier than you think. It's more so like the older guys who have been in this tradition of losing over the last several years to the Coquitlams and the Victorias and even the Pocos of the world. It's like we got to get those guys to buy into this new way.
Yeah, I think your young guys are probably like, I don't lose.
No, they're like, yeah,
they don't know what
but
it's
they
like.
were like, when we were growing up, like they were so strong, and I think that the gap's been closed a little bit by Seiko Quitlam. Like they just lost their first ever provincial gold medal in field this year, and that was like the gap gets closed as you get older. People change and whatever, but like the core 9 guys in Langley are absolute studs, and I think you're right. Like it's not going to be hard for them, but it's definitely the guys above them to try and get them up to that same level. And I think there's been a lot of hype in Langley, and I think that's something I try and remind these guys is like, we haven't earned anything yet. Like, there might be some noise, but we still have to go out there and we have to be the hardest working team and we have to do things right. And, you know, they saw last game what a team like Poco, who's been, you know, they've been to the finals.
Veteran.
Very well coached, very, you know, very disciplined. Like, they played a great game. And I think our guys, like, we've only had one exhibition because the B1s have been playing in some of them. We don't have, you know, a couple guys haven't played in exhibitions other than the first one in Semiamu, which was like a month ago. So, you know, practice is a lot different. And a lot of our practice, our O guys are first years. So, you know, our defense looks pretty good against our first year O guys, but they're kind of like, you know, Mills and Wall and like those guys are legit.
Is
And
Lincoln only a second year?
Second year. Yeah,
Yeah.
give my boy
He's-
Jacob Glass a shot.
Jacob, another guy I've been so impressed with.
Did he
Like,
play the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, right?
He's
That's-
gritty.
That's tough when you didn't know he played though.
I confirmed. I said right.
Quick little shout out. Poco's left side is slick.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, like Millsy is like a kind of like grease ball O guy. I
Mills,
like it.
Lincoln Wall, and then Andrew Cowan. Like they
Yeah.
fit. They like
It's
play
like a nice
nicely
mix.
together.
Like
yeah.
you got an ISO guy, you got a gritty guy, you got a playmaker.
Yeah.
It's good.
No, they're good. I think they need a righty though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
their right side is complete, like
Brand new.
brand new, exactly. So yeah.
Speaking of like junior and some of these guys, like you mentioned, Parker, you know, not being back in time because he's got recruiting events and things like that going on. Obviously, you know, I'm running our travel program, and it's always tough in the summertime.
Is this a shout out for PCL?
A little bit, but it's
Free
always
plugs.
tough in the summertime to get guys to like play for our program, just because a lot of junior A guys are like, no, this is junior A season, and I remember being in junior and it's like, yeah, this is what we do in the summertime. We play box lacrosse, but like my personal take on it, and I just want to know your take or get your perspective. Like my take on it, and we try our best to like avoid as much conflict as possible. But my take on it is like there's only a few chances throughout the year for these kids to get the exposure to college coaches. And so it's like we have to take advantage of those opportunities. Otherwise, we're going to have not as many players going off to college. And at the end of the day, guys like Cody Molosky get better at lacrosse because they're playing at places like Denver. So what is like your overall take on guys maybe missing a practice or a game or something in the junior season to go on some of these recruiting events?
Well, funny enough, that came up because you're taking a couple of my players down the road.
Yeah, that's right. Koji.
Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah.
suck.
Thanks, Pacer.
Well, it's like one game.
You know
That's
what
I
though?
mean.
But
It is one game,
I was
I
even
agree.
saying in the room when you were doing your session before, like it's been really hard for me, and this is what I've experienced this year. It's like we have a lot of guys that are there, obviously that aren't going to school. Some of the younger guys aren't going to school yet, but you know, for me, I'm like, well, okay, well, how much of this system am I really going to commit to when I might only have 5 of those players that are going to be back, or possibly 1 or 2 O guys that'll be there once the season is in full swing, because they've either been pushed down or maybe guys come back from school. So it's like, even like when you're already away in college, coming back, the season's like 3 games in, then, you know, all these other guys that are maybe going on recruiting trips, or like Parker's worried about getting drafted, so he's staying and doing another tournament, and then I'm only going to get him for limited games this year. And I'm like, I understand, like I'm not going to hold school against anybody, like coming back late for school or doing recruiting trips. Like for me, I said to Jason Galler, I'm like, it's a next man up. Like we got enough players, like we'll manage. And if we miss 2 guys, then the next guy gets to play. And it doesn't mean your spot's guaranteed when you get back, but if, you know, you earn it, then you'll play. But if that is a situation where it starts to become more of an issue, like even like a week-long pause or something, like they could figure something like that out. But then you look at the season, it's like crammed into 2 months.
Yeah. There's
Like,
already
it's-
like a huge conflict with Team Canada, like the U19s or
Yeah,
whatever,
it's
and
crazy.
the Minto.
It's crazy.
So
Like you
many
can just move the
different-
Minto a week.
Yeah, this is the worst thing about our sport is, especially when it's like box field and you talk about the competition in the PLL, like nobody wants to work together where it's like we're all pulling on different ropes.
Yeah.
And if
Everyone's going to
everyone
win the Man Cup.
yeah.
Everyone, hey, no, that's when my season is. You can't play in that league.
Yeah, lacrossing is like a super common term of just like getting in its own way.
Yeah.
Like everybody just fighting each other over stupid shit that is so easily solvable.
Well, then now like when sixes comes in too with the Olympics, it's like, okay, well there's sixes, there's field, there's women's field, and there's box. Like there's 4 different kinds of lacrosse when you talk about it.
Yeah.
And none of them use the same net.
Yeah.
Minor, NLL, bigger net. Junior, bigger net.
Yeah, it's
No,
it's
different
tough.
sticks.
It's tough, and I like again. I remember being in junior. I remember it being like this is junior season, and I truly believe that like playing in junior helped me in college, and I think that playing in college helped me in junior. So it's tough. Like it's a double-edged sword
Did
almost.
you get noticed for college playing junior lacrosse, or how did you get to school?
No, it was
Went to prep school in the States.
Yeah,
And
prep
he's
school.
Tyler Pace.
yeah.
Doesn't lose.
The Prince.
I don't
Really,
lose,
you don't
that's
think you
right.
got recruited at all from like performances in the Minto and stuff?
I don't.
I think he was already
I don't
committed
think so.
probably by
yeah,
then. No?
I think I was. Well, I think I was maybe committed. I committed in grade 11. So I
Did you play in a Minto yet? No.
don't know if I had played in a Minto yet. That might have been my first year playing. So I don't know that was a thing. And frankly, I don't know that it is like a thing, because the guys who are like standouts, like true standouts at the Minto Cup are typically the older players who are either already at those schools or like already committed to those schools. So it's like to be a young guy and really show out at the Minto Cup to the point where Ohio State is giving you a call, like you got to be doing something ridiculous, like game in and game out at the Minto Cup, because other than really game, like the final game or the last 2 games of the Minto, those college coaches aren't really tuning in. Like they got other things to do, and 50 kids on their roster that they have to deal with, plus the incoming recruits, plus their own recruiting trips that they're going on. So to have that be like the recruiting piece only really applies to the Canadian coaches that are down there, like, at Denver or at RIT, who are like fully locked in on what's going on in Canadian box lacrosse.
Let's talk a little bit about your experience, Matt, at the Minto. You won one in Coquitlam in 2010 against Orangeville, and then the next time that it's hosted in Coquitlam was just this past summer in 2024. And again, we've talked a bunch about it, about how the atmosphere was super crazy, and I've only seen like videos or pictures of the 2010 Minto, so I can't speak to like what the environment was like for that. But did you like? I would imagine it must have been almost like this nostalgic trip at this past Minto, kind of seeing almost or at the very least, a very similar situation unfolding, but this time you're watching as an alumni, as a spectator, like taking everything in. What was it like for you to experience it after having experienced it in 2010?
That was a big reason why I wanted to coach. Like after watching that, I was like, that was so cool. Like that was a really cool atmosphere. Like it brought back so many memories. And to see them do it, I was so obviously proud of them. Like these guys won them too. Like it was really cool. But something about being in Coquitlam, like the Langley atmosphere is just, it's too big. Like
Not the same.
it's just hard, like to really get that feel, and then to
But
see.
it was a shorter drive for Tino, hey?
Okay.
It was awesome. And then after that, I that was kind of when I made the decision. I'm like, I would love to coach and maybe, help the guys get to this point.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I want to read you a text that I reached out for, because like I was talking to you at the Minto. I don't know if you remember this or not, but we have like a mutual family friend, one Neil McGregor, who if anybody doesn't know, you grew up as a multi-sport athlete, playing soccer. So Neil was like, I would say he's like my dad.
That's where it comes from. That's where the toe kick
the
kicks out.
diving, yeah.
No, the toe kick. I was chirping Beersy this year. And I said, Beersy, I'm not going to lie. Every time we played you and somebody got over the top on you, that stupid toe kick you do. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't do that. I was like, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
There's film on it now.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping to get like some dirt on you. I was hoping to get like a funny story or something. And this is what he came back with. He just said he was as good of a soccer player as he was at lacrosse. Just tell Tino, mention an old friend of his dad's told him he was quite the soccer player and an unbelievable athlete. Like what comes to mind when, you hear that name?
Something nice about him?
When you hear that name, when you think back to like that era of your life, like what comes to mind?
Well, Neil's still actively coaching Metro Ford, and if you ask anybody who was a kid that's gone through his like program or like his development, he's still top notch. Like he's a beauty. He's so hard on the kids, but he's so good with them. I was just lucky. Like I'll always push people to be multi-sport athletes. I learned probably more in soccer about communicating and, you know, positioning and like hips and stuff. Like I was a center mid, so it was a lot of, you know, head in a swivel, like, you know, moving the ball, but also being a defenseman. Like it was a really good sport to play for being a lacrosse player. And then obviously like I love to run through guys, and soccer guys are always just poking a toe in. And then guys like Neil, they love that. Like my old coach, he's passed now, but Bob Roseland was such like a mentor and like a father figure. Like he's just such a great guy. You know, so those guys taught me to play with grit and to, you know, a lot of things. I've broken more bones playing soccer than I have playing lacrosse. Like it was a different game. Canadian soccer was different
back then.
It was a different game. But
How long did you play for? What age did you stop in soccer?
my last year was U18 Metro.
Oh, so you were grown. You were
Yeah.
herding kids.
Yeah. We were, that was the last year was tough though, because we went to provincials, and then I was the captain, and we were like doing a bunch of practices because our season ends, but the Okanagan still goes until the end of September. And I was playing lacrosse like all the way through the playoffs. So I'm like, I can't come to practice. Like I'm playing lacrosse. Like I play soccer in the winter. I play lacrosse in the summer at that point. And that was the last year. Like I couldn't do it anymore. Like it was just kind of made a decision. But yeah, Neil he was awesome. I had him a lot more like in the camps and stuff when I was younger, but his son Cade went to my school too. He was a really nice guy.
Pacer was a soccer player too.
Soccer guy. Actually, I went to Town Center, Coquitlam Town Center a few weeks ago, and I talked to Alfredo Valente, who like runs Metro Ford Soccer, and I was like, hey Freddie, like Tyler Pace, like don't know if you remember me. I played on Les Krivik's team. Sparta was our team name. He's like, Les? He's like, Les is a fucking legend. Like, Les is the king of Metro Ford. I was like, oh, yeah. Like, well, same. Like, I'm the prince. So.
And I'm the arrogant one.
Must be
no, but it's cool. Like,
thing.
Coquitlam Metro Ford, like, it's the same. I don't know. Coquitlam sports for, like, a long time has been like the mecca of BC sports, it feels like.
Not hockey. We got shit kicked in hockey.
Yeah, that's because there's a select team that plays in the regular league. There's two clubs that just pull kids from everywhere. And like that's like a crazy principle to me that like BWC and North Shore, it's like if you just put PCL in
soccer does that too.
PCF
field league.
Metro Ford in soccer, I don't think there's a catchment.
You can just
I
get
think you can
whoever
go wherever
you want.
And Metro Ford is still like it's unbelievable. The
Yeah,
way
they're
it's run.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. And yeah, like Bob Rosenland, like his youngest son Cole is my brother's like best friend, childhood best friend, and I know that like when he passed, it was a big deal. And not only obviously my brother and his whole friend group, but like the whole Metro Ford community.
Oh, he was a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was nails too.
Nails. Firefighter, right?
Yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about you, it's being like, and I'm the prince.
Yeah.
No, Pacer was supposedly actually a good soccer player. I'll give him that. Lots of people have told me that. I can see it. Too soft for our sport.
All right, we can start to wrap things up here pretty soon because Delbs is over there yawning like crazy. I do want to talk a little bit about the NLL finals before
we forgot about like our league.
Yeah. We're
so
not in that right now.
Game 3, which is, I mean, for anybody that hasn't been keeping up, like Game 3 is the equivalent of a Game 7 in every other sport, is going down this coming Saturday because Sask won in Game 2 at home. That was Buffalo's first playoff loss since May 29th, 2023. They were on a streak of 10 straight playoff wins, which is crazy.
Who was that? Colorado? They lost?
Yeah. How have you, like, what have you guys thought about the finals so far? Like, how much have you guys been watching, if at all? Like, what do you think? Can we get some predictions as well?
I don't know if we're allowed to give predictions.
Why? You're eliminated.
Sports betting and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is that really?
Yeah, I
really?
think that's a thing. I think 2 very good lacrosse teams are playing. That's my take
Really
on
good
it. But I
point.
think I don't know. It's nice to see home teams win. It's nice to see it go back to Buffalo, in my opinion, because sick if Sask wins in Buffalo. Also, pretty sick for Buffalo if they get to win at home in Buffalo, right? Like if you're thinking about hoisting the trophy. But yeah, it's nice to see somebody kind of knock Buffalo off and show that maybe they're human.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty much the two best teams from the jump of this season. So, you know, it's like in as much as the NLL is not predictable, it's like really the best teams at the end of the day are the ones competing for the championship. And
every higher seeded team won.
Yeah.
The entire playoffs.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, they're doing it at the highest level that our league has to offer. And you got these amazing players making plays like on a regular basis, things that are not easy. They're making look routine. And they're selling out. You know, I mentioned Holden Katoni, Garland, blocked that shot at the end of the game. And it's what Buffalo's been doing all year, but it's like you're seeing guys that are just willing to go that extra mile for a chance at the championship. And I saw a little clip, Frank talking in the locker room after the game, and he's like, we got one more game that'll like keep us together. It'll bond us forever. And it's so true. Like, you know, we have a picture in our locker room of our team picture after we won the championship in Calgary. And some of the guys newer this year were like, oh, like, who's this guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? And it's like, you just never forget those people that were on that team. And, you know, as much as Buffalo has been the big dogs and be awesome for them to win at home, you know, I think it's something for Saskatchewan to take a lot of pride into this, and maybe it brings back, you know, they're at 10,000 this past weekend in Sask. Like, hopefully this gets them back to the old Sask, and it's an amazing place to play when it's bumping in there. So I hope they can come out with it, but, you know, to see a historic thing like a three-peat from Buffalo would be pretty cool too.
You watched any of it, Matt?
Oh yeah, watched it all. I mean, I would give a prediction. I didn't know we weren't allowed to give predictions.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I think we are.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be out of the league again.
I might have 1-2 more years tops. I can predict it. Yeah, I honestly, like, it's going to be a great game, but there's two unbelievable teams, and they both have great goalies. The defense, Buffalo's defense, I thought would just packed it in, but like they look pretty good. Like they work really well together. They don't make a lot of mistakes. When they do, they've been capitalized on because there's a good offense in the Saskatchewan side too. Like they look a little banged up on the Buffalo side. They look a little slower than they have in the past. I don't know if there's injuries or what's going on there, but the offense in Saskatchewan has always been really good about finding the open player.
I know that Cam Wires guy just got traded for a used car in the MSL to Six Nations, but he's a good player.
Oh yeah,
Wires, is it Whitty? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Whitty. He's also legit.
Their young guys are like just like younger carbon copies of their old gritty guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great game.
Good teams.
What's your prediction? You didn't make a prediction.
I'm cheering for Sask.
I think Sask's gonna win.
I think there's I wonder about the pressure that Buffalo may be feeling, considering that like they had a chance to win in game 2. What, you don't think at all?
No, I think like they've won twice before. They know what it takes to win. I think like that team is so confident, like it might be to a fault.
Yeah,
I think they think like what Beersy's saying. All we do is win.
Yeah, I don't. If anybody's got pressure, I think Sask is feeling the pressure more. Like you go into that barn, they're giving you the gears before the anthem even starts. It's the championship, like it's the final game of the season. Those guys in Saskatchewan, I don't know, other than Churchy, I don't think any of them have ever been in that situation before. 1
or 2 goals early, though, could quiet that building. And they're pretty good about starting off on time.
Yeah, but it's happened in both games now where Saskatchewan gets an early lead and then Buffalo just, they find a way. It's inevitable.
They know how to win. I'll give them that.
Like, because of the reasons you just stated, I think that there's actually less pressure on Sask in that, like, in that they're kind of playing with house money. Like, I don't think people, aside from within their own organization, anticipated them being like this good this quickly. Like Ashley Docking was talking on the broadcast, like she brought up the story about the letter that Derek Keenan wrote to the fan base about how like you guys have trusted me before. I'm asking you to trust me again. Like I will turn this thing around. And then in like 2 years, they're back in the finals. Like
calls his own shot. What a beast.
He is a weapon.
Well, that trade for they traded Rubes.
What about Mark? Mark's traded too, turning that into Zach Mans and Adam J. Like he's made a lot of trades that would be hard trades. Like he traded guys
Rubes,
that he
who was
loved.
A free agent, and granted, Rubes signed in San Diego, but trading Rubes for your fucking back, like your backstop of they don't do any of this without Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
So you traded a free agent for a fucking I forget where I am.
Franchise goalie.
You forget where you're going to be sometimes. Yeah. They're your franchise goalie, and you get them for a free agent. Like who does that?
Yeah.
Derek Keenan.
Yeah, and
Over and
Rubiš-
over again.
And it's not like Rubiš. It's not like he's taken a step back. Like he's still
Sick.
ridiculous.
Yes.
So it's like you trade a guy who probably at that point had another 4 or 5 years of taking the ball away from whoever he wants to, whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
For Frank, who had, as good of a goalie as he's always kind of been, he's never seemed to find the way to get over the hump. And then, I don't know, I think it's some sort of dad strength. But since he's had his baby, it's like something has switched in him, and I think he's got what it takes to get over that hump.
Well, he's also playing with a great defense. Like those guys were a little bit undersized 2 years ago, but like they play really well together. Obviously, like, you pick up Hasek, which has been massive because he's that size.
The defensive player of the year they got for free. We forgot about that.
Yeah. And Shanks too. Like Shanks is another one.
Unreal signing.
Like that was a unbelievable signing. And then to get everything, you kind of go down the list. Like where was that when I was there?
A lot went right. But yeah, that's part of the league, right? And I think there is a bit of us, I think, that we just want to see like a fresh face win. Like I think not the Buffalo's like that bad of guys. It's just like, like it'd be nice to see Sask win and kind of, and not that dynasty, but show that, hey, it's kind of everyone can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just get bored. It's like the narrative seems to always be the same, where it's Buffalo this and Buffalo
Tom
that,
Brady,
and you see
Tiger
them all the
Woods.
time
Michael
in the
Jordan.
media. Yeah,
Like it's
you see them all the time in the media, like, and deservedly so. Like they're doing amazing things, and they're growing. Like the way that they have that Buffalo fan base selling out buildings in the regular season, like good for them, good for the league. Everybody's benefiting from that. But yeah, like Christian said, you get a little bored with it, and it's like you want the guys, the underdog story kind of thing that you want to take that next step.
All right, there's one more story that I want to get you guys to sort of elaborate on before we wrap up here. So I got a message last week or a couple weeks ago from Vince Burrell, and he was reminding me about something that went down at the President's Cup ahead of the semifinal game between Ladner and Snake Island, where before the game he dislocates his shoulder, like pops out and has to go, and I guess like before the game, like he was kind of on a bit of a time crunch because he wants to try to fix his shoulder so he doesn't get pulled off of the game.
Is this the ref?
Yeah, the ref.
messaged about his own story.
Well, so he brought it up
Come
because
on,
he told me to
man.
ask you, Delbs, about helping him like get some pills down.
No, dude, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. The ref came to the bench looking for Toradol.
Yeah.
He was
I
like
need
asking,
Toradol, I
he was
need
asking
Toradol. He's
our
like
trainer.
giving goal calls.
I'm like,
like,
dude, like you're not playing. Like what? Yeah, I just need and then he just goes out there, and like I said, after the shoulder incident, he was doing like the little pistols on the goal.
Yeah, he had goal
It's
pistols.
so okay because I watched the game back, and like that Winner Rivera scores a goal late to tie it. It's 8-8, and on the broadcast, like nobody really knows it's a goal, but then Teddy goes like, "No, it's a goal." Vince just can't lift his arms up. Like it's almost as if like if I asked you to do T-Rex arms and then do a goal call, like that's exactly what it looked like.
The one thing, like, he's a beauty, but the one thing I'll say is later in that game, like I think Pacer and somebody with Adam Bomberg gets like tied up near the penalty box.
Punch. Yeah.
And then he's like separating, and like somebody goes to like clock back a punch, and the elbow hits him in the shoulder. He hits the deck.
I thought he was dead.
I thought they were going to put
I
him
had
in
to go help him.
C-spine.
I had to go on the
they had
floor.
stretcher, all this, and it turns out he just had a separated shoulder. It was bad. Like the X-ray's pretty bad. His shoulder's like over here in front of his collarbone. But
Yeah.
it was just
He
an all-time.
He was trying to hold. Who was fighting on that? And he was trying to hold him back.
It was
it was Bomberry.
and the guy's,
Barker.
And the guy's
Barker,
arm got like wedged forward.
And then all this is happening. He's on the ground. Some other guy's like walking off the floor who's been kicked out and smashes the glass.
Yeah,
Like, it's just
shatters the
all-time-
glass.
Yeah.
All-time President's
and
Cup.
then
Like,
and then after that, so speaking of this guy,
this is cinema.
He goes after the game. Like my girlfriend was up at the we had a tent set up, and she was like selling shirts and shit. But he like goes up to her. Obviously, like I've never met this guy other than him being on the floor. He's clearly never met my girlfriend. He goes up to her. He's like, "You want to see something?" Shows her the X-ray. He's like, "Check this out." My girlfriend tells me about like, was that guy like playing in the game? I was like, no, he was the ref. And she's like, oh, like he was acting as though he was like the warrior amongst warriors.
He's just getting
That's
called
what
out.
President's got. Yeah, well, you can't send in your own story.
Yeah.
This went differently in his head, eh? He's gonna, Pacer's going to be out there in the WLA this year looking for a call. He's just going to see him in the corner.
No, yeah. What I mean, I
If
don't
he dies,
expect
he
it. I'll be
dies.
screaming-
It's so-
Regardless, I'll be screaming at him. Good call, bad call. You're getting yelled at.
It was so funny too, because like leading up to that scrum, I think it was in this game. Like Mitch Jones, like I think he kind of walked up to try to help you because you were getting held up against the glass, and he just slashes this like somebody on Snake Island stick was just kind of like in his hand, like on the
So
ground.
hard. You remember that?
Smokes his stick, like
The
slashes it.
Joneses,
So
the Joneses do not care.
Yeah.
Like, they do not care. Like, Jason was running headfirst into Rory.
That's who it was.
versus-
I think that's who it was. Jason came over and like two-handed a guy like in the kneecap.
That's on par for the course. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
No,
They-
that was a crazy. Yeah, that was an amazing.
They're built for summer ball. I will say, like, Jonesy for a goal scorer, like, kind of like we were talking about Randy. It's like, that's like, you don't fight them. Like, I think Eli Gobrich fought Mitch the one time.
Oh,
And it was like,
bad.
oh boy, you got red, dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's like just bad businesses. Sure, no, oh, guys, Graydon Bradley fighting Stephen Keogh in preseason. Certain things you just don't do.
Yeah. Keogh's
Keogh's as tough as they come.
Yeah.
He's
The
got
all-time-
lunchbox hands.
All-time quote from him is, I don't know if we can even air this, but somebody told me that he fought a certain person that was a police officer.
Cliff Smith.
Yeah, and he came to the bench, and he's like, man, I've always wanted to punch a police officer in the face.
Cliff in that fight, that was in Langley, and Cliff said he's like, I hit him as hard as I could, and he didn't even budge. He's like, oh, I'm in trouble.
So Josh Mills scored against your boys. Josh Mills scored like a backhand goal, and then
Yeah.
he did the Stephen Keogh like
Oh yeah.
Carpet
the
sweep.
carpet
Yeah.
sweep, and I sent it. I DM'd it to Keogh, like I tagged him in the post, and then I DM'd him after, like Beersy does with Paul Rabel. I DM'd him after.
He can fight too.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, this is Tyler. I felt like such a
This
loser.
is Tyler.
This
I
is
felt
Tyler
like such
Pace.
a loser.
I don't introduce
No,
myself.
Tyler Pace from the Calgary
Tyler
Rebels.
from the
it was
NOL.
from the PCL account. Yeah. It was from the PCL account. And I was like, hey, this is Tyler Pace. Like, this is the guy who scored. I'm just keeping the celebration alive. I felt like such a loser. He's like,
Such a
He's
fanboy.
like, good job, bro.
Like,
Like,
thumbs
keep it
up, man.
Yeah.
Print out the screenshot of
Yeah.
that conversation. It's me from the league.
It's me from the NLL, Tyler.
Yeah, but Beersy had to come off the bench I think in game. So Ladner, like we were killing teams. Like in the regular season, it was like blowout after blowout. So there's like 12 people maybe in the crowd. And one time this old lady goes down, and Beersy, like in his full
In the
gear,
crowd. Goes
has
across.
to go across, like basically like not resuscitate her. She wasn't dead.
No, there was a couple interesting
Faintings.
issues.
Faintings, yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
had
then
to come off a couple times though.
the other one that was crazy was the Victoria kid who Brahms accidentally turnbuckled, and
Oh,
Brahms
yeah.
is like the nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
Like was like trying to like press him against the boards, and like they have the open
The
glass,
open penalty boxes. Yeah.
and like turnbuckled him so bad. And then like somebody from the penalty box goes to take the guy's helmet off right away.
Yeah.
And the trainers are like, whoa, like exact opposite thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know who we were playing in that game, but they're
Victoria.
like, "Oh, we're gonna
Victoria.
get Victoria." We're like,
Did
they're
bring-
like, "We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him." I was like, I don't think you should try to get him because like we got other guys that'll get you back.
Yeah.
He's like the least malicious
And he really
person.
didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, he's the nicest guy.
He had some wires though, like Brahms.
He fought somebody this
Yeah,
year too.
like Brahms for being as I love the guys that are so nice off the floor. Then like something happens and like, whoa, I didn't expect that from you.
Yeah, that's like Curtis Manning. Curtis Manning is like a creep when it comes to in game. Off the floor, he's like the nicest guy.
He has no
He's a
idea what
doctor,
happened.
Like
It's like
deals with
he-
people. Yeah, he blacks out. He
Yeah.
goes crazy, and then after the game, it's like nothing happened. It's like, man, you were just snapping at everybody for 15 minutes straight, and now you're just calm.
Yeah, I will say like one adjustment of playing in Ladner, like my first year there, Beersy's out there too. Like when Beersy's one of the people trying to calm down defenders from hurting people, it's a scary place. It's like, guys, we're up 15 goals right now. You don't need to hurt them.
Well, it's every time Pace walked on the floor, he knew he had a bodyguard and an entourage. So he's like, I can really do
Oh, yeah.
whatever the hell I want.
I remember one time. I don't know if I've told this story. One time in Victoria, I got slashed. Like I got the ball around the half boards. A guy like slashed. I threw it, and then the guy like came down on another slash. So I did my patented fake slash, get him. But as I was throwing the pass, Ryan Keith was coming, like cutting through the middle, and he did like a full loop, like NASCAR style around the net.
Well, he needs a parking lot to turn around.
And then I did the fake slash, and he came up from like around the net, got a full head of steam, and just blasted this guy. And I was like, that's what you get.
270 pounds or whatever he's playing at.
Yeah.
There's some men. Delta in general built different.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was a clip when Patty Thornhill was playing there for junior, and he's on offense for some reason. He goes to like do like a V cut, but he doesn't cut back out. He just goes straight downhill with no ball to the goalie. Just kills Charles Claxton. It's unbelievable.
I heard Thornhill's like trying out for like
He came out for
three different WLA teams.
He was in decent shape. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't fight him.
No chance.
He seems a little more mellow. He's got like his life together. So
Yeah.
people mature.
I love the idea of your patented fake slash.
I was like once every other game at least.
Yeah, it's like I said, Senior B Tyler, not a good person. NLL Tyler.
The running chirp.
Tolerable.
The running chirp was go back to Senior A. Okay, sorry, guys.
Yeah. It was a tough thing to do. Whatever.
In Senior C, we were telling guys to go back to Senior B because you guys just like fucked everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tino's still a healthy scratch in Senior C right now.
I remember
You had to buy glasses to try to get in the lineup.
they would say that to James Ray. They'd be like, what would they say? They'd be like, oh, you got traded, like you suck. You got traded. I was like, no, he got cut.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
Yeah, that's the best part about summer ball is like these kids that just go after guys that like used to play in the NLL. And like, you're a has-been. He's like, well, at least I was a bin. Like, is it that bad?
Yeah, at least I've been.
I tried. I did it. Like,
The Mighty Ducks. You're
Yeah.
a has-been. You're never was.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like that's the tough part about summer ball sometimes. Because like there's beauties that have played in the NLL, beauties that never played in the NLL. But it's just like sometimes when these guys are going at each other, it's like, what are you guys arguing about? Like, who cares? Like, let's just play lacrosse.
But I will say, though, like, that's like the be-all, end-all, and that's the one thing that was cool about coming to Ladner when Rennie gave that speech the first year where he came into the Sun God and was like, we're doing this for the guys that had to go up against Lyle Thompson and Callum Crawford. And, like, I will say, like, I was skeptical coming to Ladner because I usually was leaving Ladner in junior with a fight. Like, it was a pretty ornery style of play they played, and we were usually winning, and it got heated. Didn't love a lot of the guys there, and then you get there, and like Delp was saying, they're all beauties. Like they were good people, like they welcomed us, and then there's like the guys they brought in, like Tyler, and all the guys that were surrounded with us, with the Ladner guys, were awesome.
Yeah, Ryan Keith is one of those guys like that you just don't believe until you meet him.
Yeah,
like you just hear horror stories about this guy if you're not from Ladner. And then Pacer's like, yeah, he's our captain. He scores 1 goal every 5 games. And everyone loves him. He's the man. You're like, man, this guy like sounds like he just like beats people up and isn't that nice.
He does that too.
Then you meet him and he's like
He's all time.
the glue of glue. He's the crankiest person in the world, but in a funny way. Like he's like, and he's still playing. He's like, he pulled the Brett Favre. He told everybody like, this
He did
is
his
it,
retirement
last
speech.
dance.
Yeah.
Walked out of the arena with the trophy, and he's back playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that feels like a good spot to end it on. We've been going for a while here, so Ty's got a ton of.
That was a long one.
yeah,
That was good.
good one.
Said an hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
ish.
the hour and a half?
Ish. 40. Oh no, we didn't get started until
Jesus.
after.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you for coming on. I think people are really going to enjoy that. That was a great conversation. Ad space is available, as you guys can probably see behind the heads of
Tino did not even try to renew our sponsors, we found out. So we apologize for that. Bye week was rough. Life's catching up to everyone. Ty's having a kid, so I mean he's got that excuse. Me and Tyler, I don't.
He's like hunched over right
yeah,
now.
me and Tyler just have the WLA.
There's
Tino has senior C.
there's a special gift that Tino got from Lens Crafters that I think you should throw on.
Oh, you want me to throw on the goggles real
Yeah.
quick?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay.
Talk for a second here.
Lens Crafter sponsorship incoming.
Yeah, I put these on and it felt like I had a concussion again.
Like within a second, it
Yeah,
hurts your
it's
face.
like instant.
Coke bottles, eh?
They're
yeah.
so thick.
Like it's probably the equivalent to 14 beers.
At least they look cool.
You think they look cool?
No.
This actually makes me feel like I don't have a concussion.
How does it work for like fog and sweat? Like does
I haven't played with me at
Yeah,
all.
you don't know.
It's like we
Yeah,
used to
you
use the
gotta-
old visor in
Why are his
hockey.
eyes closer together now?
I'm gonna score 100 goals.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like in a crazy, like a cool way.
Yeah, like super
this
cool.
guy's
It's
gonna get
crazy
me.
cool. Yeah, it's crazy cool.
You gotta get the ones that go over your head. Race ones.
I will say, wearing them.
Why are they so small?
They are smaller than I thought they were gonna be.
Like I thought they would be like
So
huge.
crazy.
They are definitely
They
smaller.
look like like the guy from Monopoly with the thing on his nose.
This is
They
crazy.
were, they were like $26. So I feel like I kind of got what I
Worth
deserved.
every penny though. That's
Worth every
amazing.
penny, yeah. And now I'm gonna. So yeah.
Let's get out here.
All right. Well, that's another episode of. You got your face is so red.
Oh my god.
All right. Well, yeah. Matt,
I might
thanks
come
for-
to the game just to watch everybody chirp Tino.
I might wear these on a broadcast. I think when we're doing some on camera
Are they
stuff.
gonna say that you're not gonna go in until you get the glasses, or is it still up in the air if you're gonna go in?
If I'm gonna.
Play.
Oh no! Like
He just hasn't
I'm
been
playing
showing
a
up. He's
little
not a
kid.
healthy scratch. We're joking about the healthy scratch thing. Everyone gets to play. They're only dressing 12 guys.
there are no healthy scratches.
Yeah, they're playing short. They still don't put them in.
All right. Well,
It's like camera now. End the episode. Let's go.
I'm trying to end the episode here. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Morning Shootaround, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get scratching.
I did not think that.